So what you guys can see here, this is our 55 grain DRT projectile. We call them terminal shock. The first thing that I want you guys to notice is the delayed expansion that we program into all these bullets. This particular, the 55 grain, we program to delay 2 inches before the jacket comes off. Now that's 2 inches in organic material, so it has to take a water-based material to start that initiation. It will not start on hard surfaces like walls, car doors, barriers, things like that. So 2 inches into this, the jacket starts to come off. You guys can see pretty clearly here the jacket, the copper jacket that has come off, and then that core is exposed. And when that core is exposed, even though it's a solid, the spin from the twist on the rifle and the path of the bullet going from front to back throws that core out. Creates a gigantic permanent wound cavity. Now this kind of gel, it's 10% ballistics gelatin. It only shows permanent wound cavity. So this is permanent wound cavity only. You know, no exit wound. Perhaps we had a tiny little piece of powder exit the back, but that's important from a terminal standpoint because we're having 100% energy dump and energy transfer. And for a self-defense or law enforcement standpoint, we're mitigating that risk to innocent bystanders or teammates by not having a pass-through. So the same technology that allows this round to be incredibly lethal and effective, the technology of coming apart, is the same technology that makes this round extremely safe. But you know, those bonded bullets are obviously going to penetrate more barriers, and any kind of solid bullet is going to penetrate more barriers. So, and like I was explaining earlier, you know, there are situations you need that solid bullet. You know, I'm not going to take this bullet to, I mean, we've killed some gigantic animals with that 223, but I'm not going to take this and go, you know, elephant hunting with it, or water buffalo, something that you need, you know, 6 feet of penetration. You know, this is not the bullet for that. This bullet is designed for military and law enforcement and home defense. An easy crossover to that is the hunting side of things, you know. So this particular bullet, you know, this 55, we've killed up to about 400-pound animals with it, and I think I found one 79 grain bullet in the bottom of my bag. We'll shoot that in a minute. Too, I'll show you the difference. And we've killed up to 600-pound animals with that 79 grain. Okay, range is safe. So what you guys can see here, you know, with the 223, we talked about that programmed delayed expansion. We programmed the 223 to delay 2 inches, again, to make sure we get into the chest cavity. Our 308 and our 30 cal bullets, depending on the weight, they delay 4. Our 300 Win Mag delays closer to 6 inches. In a commercial side of things, you're typically shooting bigger game with that, so we want to make sure we get enough penetration. The pistol rounds, we program to delay 1 inch because those are typically closer engagements. So what you have here is you have about 1 inch delay, the jacket rips off and that core comes apart, gigantic permanent wound cavity here. We program the bullet to part of the core, and the jacket here is penetrating. We want to make sure we hit that 12-inch mark, which is a pretty big standard for FBI protocol and for law enforcement. So in this case, my hand is exactly 10 inches. So we're looking like right there, we're on the 12 and maybe on the leading edge of 13 inches of penetration. Okay, so the first thing that I'll tell you guys to notice is we had a pass through with this. You know, a lot of people like to grab these blocks and put them up next to them and say, well, man, this block is way thicker than I am. This is an industry standard for testing, but in the real world, this is a pretty poor representation. Ballistics gel is a poor representation to live tissue. That's why we do things like this and go out and we game test it. We want to actually see what happens when this hits living tissue, hits organs. You know, an animal target or human target has bone, skin, or paunch on an animal, and it's not 100% consistent density like this is. There's liquid, there's tissue, and then there's organs and muscle and all that. So, but this is an industry standard. So, full pass through with this. You guys can
you say what bullet that was again?
That's the Corbon
DPX.
DPX solid copper bullet. You can see the difference in the permanent wound cavity. Very small permanent wound cavity here. Now, if we were to take every other brand out there, if we shot, you know, all the normal self-defense and law enforcement duty round ammo, you would see next to no difference between this permanent wound cavity, between the core bomb bullet here and any of those other ones. The difference in permanent wound cavity is so minute between brand A and brand B that they cannot actually measure the difference in wound cavity itself. They have to take the bullet out and measure that bullet for expansion. Now yes, the more that bullet expands, that correlates to a bigger cavity, but the point that I'm making is there's such a little difference between all the brands that you can't actually measure the wound cavity itself. You have to measure the bullet. It's pretty evident looking from the side of this which bullet does more damage. Range is safe. So we broke this plate we had on. I think we actually bent the table a little bit here too. Let's look at the other way around. There we go. That makes more sense. This side you can see it a little bit better over here maybe. So I was talking to you guys about the delay. This is our 175 grain 308. It's designed to delay about 6 inches. We also have a 150 that's commercially available now. It will only delay about a little bit less than that, 4 to 5 inches. So we have the delay, the jacket comes off here, and then you guys can see, again, we're looking at the 9mm from this side, so disregard that. But you guys can see all the powdered core that's dispersed through this. Again, these are extremely heavy metals. The powder starts out as fine as makeup powder. And the best way to describe what this is doing to that tissue and those organs is it's sandblasting those materials. You're taking powdered metals and they're traveling well over 1,000 feet per second. You can imagine how much damage that's going to do. So again, you know, maybe we had a slight piece of powder exit out of the back of this, but for the most part, 100% energy dump, no exit wound, and you know, again, mitigating risk to innocent bystanders.